Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. It is October. It is the second day of October, 11:05 a.m. Happy to be getting the clouds starting to break. I was talking to Mohan earlier, talking about how normally out here in the Bay Area, we're extending out into an extended summer. I called it an Indian summer. I didn't make that name up, but I realized I was talking to Mohan, who is an Indian brother. Ah, got to stay politically correct. So late summer, but we got some rain. So got the sun is starting to shine out, feeling good, and I'm super excited to be here. Before we get started, I want to congratulate everyone whose camera is on, who's present, and acknowledge you for being in this space. And here's why. The fact that you're present, the fact that you're on time, the fact that you're in this space indicates one thing. It indicates that you're serious. You're serious about crushing your Q4. Elias just held what I heard was an extremely powerful business planning workshop, planning and preparing the mindset for Q4. The fact that you're here in this space indicates that you're serious about mastering and perfecting the art of converting online leads. You're serious about the opportunity that the team has afforded us by being in partnership with Zillow. You're like serious about your Q4 goals. Just the fact that your camera's on, the fact that you're here on time. And I want to start by simply acknowledging you. We got a lot to cover today. My brother Dan got Coach Elias on the call. Always a pleasant surprise when he joins our space. We want to talk wins of the week. We're going to talk some direction in terms of what's happening. Now it's in front of us. ZHL is what the predominant subject matter is in the conversation. We're going to talk about that. We're going to do some role playing. We're going to get into our mid to bottom funnel metrics and really dissect the flow. We've gotten better at our top funnel metrics, and Dan's going to get into that. And also get into some wins of the week, but we've got a full agenda today. Want to leave some time for Coach to insert some of his knowledge, talents, insights, and seeds that he may have for us today. But before we do any of that, I'm going to pass the microphone over to my compadre, a partner in crime in this space, Dan. Let's talk wins of the week, brother. Let's talk data. Let's get the engine revving.
Okay, all right. My favorite way to bring everyone out on the tunnel is a nice data talk. Well, let's start with wins of the week, and I think we got a couple people in particular that I'd like to call on that had some really good wins that we know about. Did I see?
Are they on here, Dan? Are they on here?
Let's see, Lisa Torres. I see you moving around. Are you able to take yourself off mute, or are you in the mix of it right now?
Hi. Yeah, no.
I would love for you to share with us, if you can, the deal that you got in contract this last weekend that we were going back and forth about, the HUD home, because that was a really great example of some hustle that turned into a deal.
Yeah, so I took a call. I think it was Friday night, and they wanted to see a condo in Benicia the next morning. It was a HUD home, and they liked it. So one of those like rare occasions where first meet up with the client and they wanted to submit. But I was frantic because it is a HUD home. I've been wanting to get make sure that I am certified or on the HUD list to submit, because you have to be on that particular list or you cannot submit an offer. So my old broker used to be a HUD listing agent, and it's not a terribly complicated thing. It's just you have to know the steps to go. So that was like my biggest hurdle, is trying to figure out what do I need to do to get on that list quickly or find somebody. So, trying to find a teammate was really difficult. It was, I couldn't find anyone. So I was able to connect. It's a very simple process. All you have to do is email the California broker with your request. And it's literally just an email. Hey, I want to be HUD certified. All your contact information. And you'll get an email from HUD to verify everything, and then boom, you're there. So that happened Saturday afternoon. I was able to get the offer over, and the listing agent said there was other agents trying to submit, but they couldn't either reach their broker or they couldn't figure out the process. And so they didn't have the ability to submit the offer. So that's why we won. Like, boom.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Showing up and putting in the effort, and that's half the battle. You were the only one who was able to show up and who put in the work, and you got a deal out of it. So congratulations, Lisa, and congratulations to your client. That's just phenomenal. Putting in the work and to really commit into something.
And before you go further, just the way that you broke down or dissected the steps that are taken to become HUD certified in the time frame. But like let's just articulate that. Like let's really just break that down just in terms of, because that what that reflects is her persistence, her ambition and drive, and her relentless effort to get that done in 1 or 2 days over the weekend to get an offer accepted. Right? I mean, there's steps to this. It's just not like an application just happens. This is Friday. She gets the lead. She learns she has to apply to become a HUD certified agent to get this done for her client, to be able to submit the offer. Lisa, when did you submit the offer?
Saturday night, because it was due. Offers were due Sunday, and that was the big thing, is that if there was a glitch or I couldn't reach a broker, it wouldn't have happened.
So she gets
offers were due Sunday, which is unique. And yeah, so that was it. Like otherwise, other agents probably would have been able to pull it together by Monday. It was getting it done over the weekend.
I just want to amplify, Lisa, the intentionality, right? She got the lead on Friday. She's HUD certified by Saturday. She submits the offer, gets her offer accepted because she responded to the sense of urgency and didn't take no for an answer, even if it was over the damn weekend. I just want to just acknowledge that. That's
and
good stuff.
And shout out to our brokers, right? So just having that California 800 line, I think I called and they're like, "This is what you do. Just shoot me an email. This is all I need." And yeah, so our broker walked me through the steps over the phone, super simple. And then that's how I was able to get it done.
Love it. Love it. So good. Congratulations, Lisa. I want to call on, I think, one more person for win of the week. That Daniela, I see you got Zion there. I don't know if you're able to take yourself off mute and share what we were talking about yesterday, but you had a really cool story about that client that you earned their business from another realtor. And I know we all talk about this often of like, what do you do when there's a client that says they have another realtor, they're working with someone else? And for a lot of you, I say like, don't move them to trash yet, because a lot of times other realtors can create opportunities for us by dropping the ball. So until they close escrow or until they tell you I have a signed buyer broker agreement and I don't want to be contacted by another realtor, keep that door open, because you never know what's going to walk through it. So Danielle, would you share with this story of what you were able to have?
Yeah, so I connected with them through a live transfer Friday night, and I could tell like he was just super flustered. And he shared with me that, they had been working with an agent. It wasn't working out. I think they had put an offer on a property, and there was like some miscommunication with the lender. And their monthly payment was going to be like almost double what he originally wanted to pay. So getting all of that information plus hearing the desperation in his voice kind of just triggered me to be like, you know what, I just need to meet up with these people, because I think I can help them from a different angle than the current, professionals helping them. So they were looking at a property that's like right across the street from my house. And I reassured them that I know the neighborhood really well. I live there as well. And I think that's really what tied them over. And they were like, okay, we'd love to meet with you. So we met at the showing, and just hearing more about their story, I was like, look, I live and I dine and my daughter goes to school in this city, which is Concord. And so I know that I can help you guys find a property here. And that kind of just did it for them. So I think the cool thing that we have with Zillow is because real estate is hyper local. And when we get those phone calls, we have to take that, like we have to use that to our advantage and be like, I do everything here. Like, regardless if you're working with someone else, like nobody knows this city like I do. And that just gave them the reassurance, like, okay, we want to work with this person. So they went through the steps of, you know, ending the relationship like on a respectful manner with the other party, and then now we have them good to go with our lender, because we had to like rerun the numbers. Now we're looking at properties in Concord, and they're super motivated. So I think like within like the next 30 days, I'll probably get them into contract.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And what I really like about that story is they had mentioned that they had even submitted offers with a different agent, but you heard something in their voice that made you say, you know what, I think there's still opportunity here. I think I can win their business. And you went for it and you did. And so that's where, again, if someone's telling you, hey, I'm happy with my realtor, I don't want to interview anyone else, I'm 100% satisfied, we're good. Yeah, okay, that's a different story. But if someone's open to interviewing other realtors, don't just throw away those people who say that they have a realtor. Sometimes that's them just trying to, get us to buzz off or whatever, because there is real opportunity there. So Danielle, thank you and congratulations. That was a really good one. Vern, do we have time for one more? Because I wanted to call on V actually, if you're able to share your experience with your ZHL deal and contract. But Vernon, do we got time for one more?
Yeah, we absolutely do. I want to before we go past the mic to V, I want to just go back to Daniela. Daniela, I want to highlight something, a technique that she used. It's real simple. We talk about it all the time, but she was actively listening. Right? That's how she heard the trepidation in their voice. So she leveraged emotional intelligence in sales and actively listened to see where there were holes, where there were variances in their tonality to identify, oh, this is an entry point. And then she positioned herself as the expert in Concord. Yo, I shop here, I eat here, my kids go to school here. No one can tell you about this market better than I can. So emotional intelligence in sales, leveraging or utilizing active listening, asking a pointed question to create a response that she can gauge the tonality in the response to determine, maybe this is not going to work for me. They've already got an agent, or here's an opening for me that I can leverage and I can turn this client. But without the emotional intelligence technique, the active listening piece, asking thought-provoking questions to trigger a response, she wouldn't have been able to turn that lead. So I just want to take a step deeper, Daniela. I recognize your technique. That was dope. Congratulations to you, sister. Good job. All right, Dan, go ahead, brother.
All right, last one. V, you if you're able to take yourself off mute, you're one of our early adopters with ZHL, and I saw that you've got a deal in contract right now with one of the Zillow Home Loans officers, and I was wondering if you could share with everyone what that experience has been like going actually through an escrow with them.
So this one was already pre-approved before they got to me. I asked the lender, how did he get my information? And they said basically when they have someone already pre-approved on their side, it's just a button they press and it just automatically randomly goes to an agent that is available. So that's how I got that lead. This one was a Zillow lender that I don't think is on our list, but he has been very communicative. This is the second one that I've worked with that's been very communicative and not on our actual list. But these were the clients that were originally looking out in Boulder Creek. Antioch. And then we couldn't get in that property and they decided, okay, let's go to Boulder Creek instead. We couldn't get in the first property for whatever reason. I think the key was missing. And then we ended up going all the way out to Modesto after I sent out a list of properties that was based on their pre-approval. And so we went to see one. I had three on the list, but they felt like they didn't want to go see the other ones. I was like, are you sure we're already out here? So then they said, no, this is the one. So we ended up writing on that one. It's a probate sale. And we're going to close on that on Monday. We just got the clear to close today. So it's been a really good experience with the Zillow lenders on the Zillow side.
Nice. Good. Good. Awesome. I'm glad you're having a positive experience and that you got one that came through pre-approved. Those are always the most fun.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, V. Vernon, I have one more program update and then I'll toss it back to you if that's all right.
Go for it, bro. Take your time. And I want you to be sure to present our end of month data, because the last that we had spoken with them, we were on a push,
Yes.
focusing on that mid funnel to bottom funnel. So let's let them know what the result was.
Well, I'll start there.
Okay.
Great news. We did it. We hit it. We ended the month. Our goal was 13 deals. We ended the month with 14 deals under contract for the month of September. So another month in the books where we beat our goal. It was a very funny experience starting the month of October with 7 deals in contract towards the month of October. So we had a bunch of you got deals in contract in September. I think we actually got like 18 or 19 deals in contract in the month of September, but a bunch of them were leads that, because of the way Zillow calculates these things, are pushing into October because the leads came through in September. So we are starting October with a massive head start. We got 6 or maybe even 7 deals in contract on October 1. So I think October is going to be a total blowout month. Stockton also, the Stockton goal was 2 for the month of September. Stockton closed with 3 deals in contracts. So Stockton also nailed their goal. And it sounds like we got some really good momentum for October in Stockton as well. So we're seeing things firing on all cylinders, even as we're going into the slow season here. And then Vernon, you mentioned stats and mid-funnel data and everything. So I'm going to share my screen real quick for everyone. We've been hitting on this for a long time with all of you for several months, talking about the MET rate, the set rate. And I just want to throw kudos out to everyone because your work is paying off. We're starting to see this really come through in the numbers. If you remember back 4 or 5 months ago, when we were starting to talk about this, we were seeing a lot of this stuff in the red, like it is right now. The reality is these numbers take time, right? It takes time for all of the clients in your pipeline for you to actually meet with them. If you talk to them on the phone, they're coming to town in 2 weeks, you're not able to get that face-to-face appointment, or you're nurturing someone, and then you finally book the appointment 2 or 3 months after they came through, start to see these tick up. And what we're seeing is April, May, June, these months back here, our MET rate as a team, the goal was 45%. For April, you guys met with 60% of the leads. For May, 51%. For June, 48%. 40% for July, 46% for August. So as a team, you're getting face-to-face, getting those face-to-face opportunities with way more people than we were 5 or 6 months ago on average. And I think a lot of that is just the work that you've been putting in, getting them out there, continuing to nurture those relationships. Our appointment set rate, we still got a little bit of work to do on that, but I mean, 70%, 60% in that range is still really good overall for the team. Zillow wants us as 80%, but that's I think a very great spot to be at. If you're at 80, and 70 is still a really good spot to be at. And then lastly, we had our answer rate dipped in the month of August. We had a ton of connections coming through. Zillow been working. Vernon and I don't know why I called you Zillow, Vernon. You're just in my mind as Zillow. Vernon and I have been working really hard on building out the roster, onboarding folks. You'll see some new faces in here. I think we've got 5 or 6 people that have jumped on the team in the last few weeks. And so we're seeing the answer rate tick back up. We're capturing more of those opportunities that are coming through. And I know for September, we're going to see these numbers that are in the red right now make moves towards the green like these other months, because as you guys work through your pipeline, it's just going to continue to improve. So I want to shout out, kudos, thank you everyone. I know we've been harping on these mid-funnel stats for like 4 or 5 months now, and we're seeing the results, we're seeing the impacts. And obviously with our closings and continuing to hit our goals, we're seeing these trickle down in terms of actual dollars. So thank you and congratulations. That's what I got on this.
Good, Dan. That's as of the 29th. So a few deals that are not up to date that we were logging on the 30th, which I think we logged 2 on the 30th. One was for October, if I recall correctly. So it should be updated Coach.
Should be 14. Yeah, it should 13.
Yeah,
It should be 14.
right. We're at 14. So good job, team. I've got to congratulate you all. This is a collective. We responded to the call, back on track. I think that we've tightened up some of the loose bolts that we recognize from being, I don't want to say penalized for being successful, but that's essentially what it was, to where we were, we're ahead of the curve now. We intend to stay that way. So just wanted to make sure that everyone got their kudos, congratulatory, attaboys and attagirls, and let's continue to push as the sentiment is with the broader team. Let's make Q4 that quarter that will be memorable for us. It sets the momentum going into 2026. Damn, we're almost into 2026. Whew. I hope your year has been what you intended it to be when we began 2025. If not, got 3 months to close out with some momentum. Mama San, I see your hand up. You got a contribution? Because it went up, went down, then went back up.
It's all positive. You're
Give it
talking
to us, girl. Give it to us.
I'm not going to damper on this great talk we're having, but I've had a few leads where they come in, they say they don't have agents, and we take the time and we get there and we do the showing, and then after, like, oh, sorry, we have an agent, or we're confused. We didn't, we weren't asked. Or so here's the thing. I'm wondering, is there a way for Zillow when they're taking the client's information, if they can really, really please look into see if these clients have agents, because it's really, a waste of our time. I do ask sometimes, but that's also, I feel like on the Zillow part, they should do a better job of vetting these buyers for us, because it's frustrating when we find out they have an agent, and
Dan, I see you're on mute, so you're going to leave that one to me. I see, since the call is recorded, let me be politically correct.
Yeah, you got it.
Watch this at a later time. But Drea, you have a great point. Unfortunately, their vetting system does not ask if you're already working with an agent, right? And it sucks. As a producer as well, it sucks because we have to. That's a part of our vetting when we're having the discovery call, if they're working with an agent or not. Zillow doesn't ask them, have you signed a BRBC or single property touring? There's no.
I don't expect that, but yeah. It's like, it's just I feel like they're promoting it on the. It's just I don't know. The marketing isn't promoting it where when they're getting an agent on the other line, that it's a buyer's agent, not the listing agent, right? And sometimes I have to remind these buyers, like, I'm not the listing agent. They're trying to get in direct contact with the listing agent, so anyways, to say, yeah, I know that Zillow can't, I don't know, but maybe we can talk to them, because it's really.
I'll tell you what, I'm just going to be honest with everyone on the call, because I'm sure all of us, by a show of hands, have all of us experienced this scenario that Drea is, it's going to come down to our cadence. We can't depend on Zillow, right? So it's going to come down to us in our discovery call, asking the proper questions. Are you currently working with an agent? That question has to be asked openly upon setting the ALM or with that follow-up conversation. It's our cadence is going to determine. It's going to weed out those who have an agent, who've signed a BRBC. We should be going even deeper. You have a signed BRBC? Yes. Okay, great. Is it exclusive or is it non-exclusive? Like, we need to delve deeper into the questions of the lead that we're receiving to get a gauge on, is this a lead that we can set an appointment with and meet? Can we legally work with them? That's going to be our responsibility in terms of our rhythm receiving. I feel you. And then Zillow holds us accountable. That's a metric that we're held at. We answered that call. That's a connection that's being connected to us, right? To find out that we can't work with them because they've already signed an agreement with an agent and so forth. They're not going as deep into, the weeding out, if you will, prior to the lead being transferred over to us. It sucks, hurts our numbers. It is what it is, but it's going to be a part of our rhythm and our cadence to really investigate on a deeper level before you actually go out to meet that appointment and then find out, damn, they already have an agent. And that's really a waste of our time, right? So that's good feedback. I'm on your side with that one, Drea. I think Zillow has their own way of doing things. But thank you for that contribution. I saw another hand up somewhere, and then it went down. Who was it? Was it Odal?
Yeah, that was me.
You put it back down. You
No,
yeah.
no, I want to talk. I don't know what's going on. I got kicked out the room twice, and then it just reloaded again while Mama San was talking. But
But I don't know.
I think that I just wanted to touch base on when we do the connections now. It says in the app when we talk that the BBRC paperwork has to be set through with our rep. Was that you being our rep, or is it Zillow's rep? But it does say that the BBRC should be up there. Is there any way that we can work on there so they know that it's coming from Zillow and as well as us? Because I've noticed that when we say we're partners or we say this, or just notice when talking to a consumer, when you show them that this is kind of like the precedence of what's happened and hearing it multiple times, it's more easier. So not just saying it from us, the person that wants them to directly sign this, but isn't there something that's supposed to be on there on that end? Is that why it says that?
So yes, the direct answer to your question, Otis, is yes. Zillow does have a variation of a BRBC, and it's been the same disconnect since last year. EXP's languaging and Zillow's languaging, they don't connect. And so what we've opted as a team is to use the CAR or EXP's BRBC as opposed to Zillow's BRBC to make sure that our back ends are covered for agents' perspective. But the answer to your question is yes. There is an agreement on Zillow that would simplify things. The language just doesn't cover us in terms of complete legalities, as well as the CAR or the EXP BRBC does. So as of right now, bro, until the languaging is interconnected and it's covering us, we're going to continue to use the CAR form or the EXP BRBC.
Yeah, EXP broker said explicitly that Zillow's is not good enough.
Yeah.
Oh, I've been sending out the Zillow ones.
Oh, well, do that and use the EXP one because EXP doesn't like Zillow's.
Zillow ones literally says this is only for touring service and that the agent is not binding to you.
Yeah, EXP doesn't like that.
I see.
Elias, I see you shaking your head. You're speaking, brother, but you're muted up. Nothing. Oh, nothing.
But
there.
it kind of makes sense because
Disagreeing.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
how I'm communicating to the buyers is like, hey, like this is a touring service I'm offering for free for this first time, and then I just need this agreement signed so that I'm not in trouble. And then it makes no sense to bind you to an agent before you even meet me. So then a lot of them find that makes sense and is willing to sign. And then that kind of like helps weed buyers, people who just like want you to open the door, because usually as soon as you send over a contract, they're like, oh wait, no, I have an agent or I have signed something with an agent. And I'm like, okay, go to your agent then. But if they sign it, then it's a good indication that they're maybe don't have an agent, but we can't use that form now.
I mean, to your point, Julie, for streamline purposes, that would make sense for a higher percentage of receptiveness from a lead who came through Zillow. If a Zillow single property touring request is sent to them through Zillow, I mean, it streamlines it for us. I don't know if that's an additional step, Dan and Elias, where you leverage the Zillow doc just to get to establish the relationship, and then you move forward with a more official long-term BRBC. Would that simplify the process? Would that convolute the process? I don't know, but I like, to Julie's point, when they're receiving it within the Zillow platform, they've already went to Zillow, they received this higher probability that they're going to sign that to get the initial appointment met, build that relationship, and then go into the formalized longer term BRBC. Is that a play that could be made? Do we want to completely stay away from that? Because I do hear, for seamless sake and simplicity's sake, it does make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Don't everyone speak at the same time?
Yeah, I mean, yes, that would make a lot more sense. It's a judgment from EXP broker though that is tying our hands. So it's not anything of us simplifying the process. It's the EXP broker has said they don't think that Zillow's single page touring agreement meets the criteria of the lawsuit and our obligations to disclose to buyers. And, they're the broker that has to take liability for it. So they're the ones that are saying this is not sufficiently covering our liability as a brokerage for what they see our EXP attorneys see as the what we need to do based on the lawsuit from last year. Zillow's faster and looser with the language because they're not the brokerage, so they don't bear any of the liability for it. But EXP is more conservative with it. So if we did the Zillow one, EXP would say fine, but you also have to have the EXP one signed or the California Association of Realtors one signed before you walk in the door with a client. And so then at that point, to stay in compliance, we're having them sign 2 forms.
Yeah.
To stay in compliance.
So for liability's sake, we're just going to stay with the EXP doc or the card.
Yeah, and I'll check with, it's been 6 or 8 months since we've had this conversation with EXP broker, so I can check and see if they've had any change of heart and if Zillow had plans for us to be able to upload our own single property touring agreement into the Zillow app. That I haven't seen that yet, but I can see if that's something that they're still working on.
Great stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
If you could do that for us, Dan, and kind of report back to us just in terms of liability and processes, that would be great. If there's some new direction for us, that would simplify that process. That would increase the probability of getting that document signed so that we can meet more clients. That would be great too. Liz, welcome back. It was so good to see you at HQ the other day. You looking like new money. What you got?
So regarding the BRBC and Zillow and commission transparency, I think I saw Zillow has like a lawsuit because a buyer was upset that he was not told that Zillow takes commission or like a portion of our commission. So is that something that needs to get worked on our end? Because I don't ever want to end up with a buyer that says, oh, well, you didn't tell me that Zillow took like X amount percentage from your commission, because that's not something that I even tell my clients, like, oh, we were introduced via Zillow, so like depending on your price range, they're going to take a certain percentage from my commission. So like on the BRBC, obviously it's all about commission transparency. So I didn't know if there's something in the works to basically also let clients know that when we do have a transaction and because we're connected with Zillow's going to take a portion of that.
Dan, I'm going to let you, I see you bobbing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably a broker question. We haven't heard anything from the brokerage saying that we need to do anything like that. Depending on which way this lawsuit breaks, that could be something that we're required to disclose. But I think that disclosure requirement would more be on Zillow, because Zillow is the one getting sued in this case. That they make some disclosure saying the people we're referring to you, we have a financial interest in you going with them. But at this point, there's nothing that I'm aware of that would require us to make that disclosure. Okay. Now, Elias, have you heard anything along those lines? I don't think they're making any rulings on this yet.
But there's definitely a lot of noise because Zillow's in 4 litigations right now. And so anytime you have a company of this size and of this power that is centered around controversy, then there's going to be a buzz around it. But at the end of the day, that doesn't really impact the consumer's experience with us. We're still going to do the same level of work, whether or not we're paying a referral fee or not. So as long as we continue to do the things that we do, like create the best experience for the consumer, I don't give a shit what they hear, right? Because at the end of the day, it doesn't change what we do, right? It doesn't change what we do. Now, if they want to battle with Zillow and, oh my God, there needs to be transparency, that's a battle that they're going to battle with Zillow. Cool, go down that path. But for us, we're just going to continue to provide the same level of service no matter what we pay on the other end. It doesn't really matter. And so we'll see how this shakes out. We'll see how this lawsuit shakes out. We'll see how this RESPA thing shakes out with having a requirement to use Zillow Home Loans. But right now, I think that we should spin it positively on social. I haven't seen one video that says, you know what, despite all the noise, the Zillow platform has allowed me X amount of dollars to provide for my family, travel, and have a lifestyle. Well, I think we should produce some of that content. I think we should spin it right now.
That's a good idea.
because everyone's talking negatively about it, this, that, and other, and Tom Ferry and everyone else. It's just like, at the end of the day, each of you guys have been able to do something cool in your life, provide for your family as a benefit of receiving these leads that we paid zero customer acquisition costs for. So I think we need to PR the message just as well until we know the final is of what's going to come down. But I think that we have an ability to PR the message and continue to remain firm, as we're here to provide the best possible service for our consumers. I don't give a shit if they took more than that. We're still here to do a job.
Elias, I would be curious to ask you, man, because I love that idea. No one is speaking positively about the benefits of being in partnership with Zillow. No one is, right? So, I'm wondering if that's something that we could do as like from a Team Fast perspective of Zillow partners, meaning, I don't know, 5 or 6 people go into the booth and create some content about how their life has been positively impacted by being a partner with Zillow and so on and so forth, and make some type of a reel out of that.
Do it now. Let's say it now. You guys all have, whether you're in Stockton or whether you're close to the Oakland office, go to the office, create that content, be like, hey, you guys, there's a lot of noise about Zillow right now, but as a partner with Zillow, here's one thing that I've been able to provide, or here's a family that I was able to help that I would have never met through Zillow that's now sitting in their beautiful new condo overlooking the lake in Lake Merritt. And it's been an honor and a privilege to be able to work with Zillow. So while all the other people complain, go ahead, Zillow, send it to Team Fast, and we're sure to take that ball and run with it.
Yeah,
that's a different type of message, right? It's a different type of message. So I want to encourage you guys, any of you, get in the booth, submit that over to the Strategers, and let's create this positive spin, because at the end of the day, we're still partners. And at the end of the day, there's $600,000 more dollars for you guys to take in potential income and GCI by the end of the year. Shit, let's take our lion's share and go do something cool for our families.
Yeah, I'm right.
That's my take on it.
You heard it there. You heard it there. So if you're near and dear to one of the offices or content creation booths, I also want to second that motion. Let's put some positive messaging out there around the partnership with Zillow, because I don't know about you guys, but Zillow has helped me tremendously just as an individual agent, and put some food on my table and allowed me to do some cool things. So I'm loving the conversation and the direction that it's organically flowing in, but we do want to stay within boundaries. So we got two hands. We got Aaliyah. Then we're going to go Lisa rapid fire. And then we had a powerful mastermind with ZHL in our space last Thursday, and we have not had a chance to dissect that. We do need to have that conversation, because we're at the beginning of being held accountable for the metric that everyone's speaking so negatively around as it relates to Zillow, that we are going to meet and then beat. So Leah, then Lisa, rapid fire, and then let's get into this breakdown of the conversation of our mastermind last week. Leah, what's your contribution?
Okay. So I just wanted to confirm, since I'm new to Zillow, the correct way for asking about the agent and then the BRBC. Are we allowed to do that on the first call, like the initial call, or does that need to be something that's just discussed like when we call them back to confirm everything?
It depends on your rhythm.
Okay, so there's no like you have to do it this way, because I know we have the ACL. Is that what it's called? ALM or something. So it just depends on what works best for us, or Zillow wants us to do it in a certain way.
Okay, so we're going to go through this real quick, right? So you book the appointment. You understand their location or locations, and you learn of their motivation. Flat that first, book the appointment. In that conversation, you can ask, are you currently working with an agent? You can ask that question. Okay. In that same conversation, you book the appointment, you understand the location, learn the motivation. Here's what we do next. Are you working with an agent? No, I'm not. Great. So here's what's going to happen next. You're going to connect with the seller, confirm this appointment. And there's one piece that has to happen. We need authorization to work with each other. Do that in the form of a single property touring agreement. I'll bring the hard copy with me. Easy peasy. You can have that conversation on the front, or the follow up as you confirm the appointment. That's totally up to your rhythm and your cadence. But what's most important?
What's worked best for people? Like what have people seen the most?
I do it in the first conversation.
Okay.
Me personally. Anyone else want to contribute and chime in on what works for you all? But Aaliyah, we will go into great detail on that process, that sequence, that cadence, and that flow in these spaces. Today's just not one of those, but great question. Otis, You want to give her your response? Can you make it quick, brother?
Yeah,
please?
yeah. I do the first call. I get my ALM. I book the appointment, even if I haven't talked to anybody, because that way we hit all our metrics. The second call is where I get it really in depth with them on the agreement and tell them, hey, usually I have to make sure I'm in my metrics. So the first call has to be within 5 minutes. The second call is to touch up on everything from the appointment for us, what we got to do. You do have to sign this touring agreement. That way it keeps me on the books as my stuff is all clear, but off the books, if they don't show up, if they don't do anything or they don't sign it, then I see that after that point. But it's a better way to get more in depth where you're not worrying about not booking the appointment. Like everybody's all like, I hear a lot of calls and they're always like, let me book with no, it's booked. My time is booked with you right now for me and you. Now I have to go do my side and go with the listing agent. So that's kind of how I do mine.
And I agree with that. Aaliyah, till you get your rhythm and your flow, initial call, focus on booking the appointment. Learning the location, understanding their motivation. Like let's keep it small, simple steps. You get the call, book the appointment, location, motivation. And then to Otis's point, once you've connected with the seller, laid out the next steps, and then you can have, here's what we do next, need the authorization sign. That can be in the second conversation. So let's just keep it simple. Was that clear? Bring some clarity to you? Is that a thumb? Oh, okay. Right on. Who else had their hand up? Rapid fire. Hearing none. We had let's turn the corner. Had a mastermind last Thursday. ZHL is here. It is October the 2nd. We are now held accountable for 10% of our teams met with number to be ZHL pre-approved. It is what it is. This is the first month that they'll be recording the actual transfers and approvals from our appointment met column. Who was in the room last Thursday? If you were in the room last Thursday, what impression did you leave with? What are your next steps and what are your thoughts around how we're going to integrate or present the ZHL conversation in our flow? Daniela, contribution.
Yeah, so I left the meeting feeling a lot more confident. And I think it really helps hearing experiences from people, like V, and I know Sierra has had really positive experiences because it's not hard for me to present a lender to the consumer. It kind of flows in the cadence of when we're having a conversation. So I think being very intentional. I think the next step for me personally is going to be maybe just giving one of these lenders like a call, just so I feel like I have more of a personal relationship with them. Because as of right now, if I meet someone on the street, immediately I'm like, oh, let me present you to my preferred lender, Stephanie Sanha with the Money Store. It's just like a second nature, right? So I think right now, especially for leads that come through Zillow, because I do like the idea of selling it as like, we're kind of all under one umbrella. These are lenders that are ready to bat for you, like that whole thing. But I think the only thing that's missing for me is just to create more of a relationship with a couple of lenders so it feels more genuine.
And that totally makes sense because this business is relationship based, right? And so from a client's perspective, they want to work with someone they know, like, and trust. From a lender to agent perspective, we want to work with someone who we know will answer the phone on Sunday night when it gets critical, right? Through the relationship, or who can meet some extravagant terms so that we can get that deal closed, right? So I agree with you 100%. The relationship aspect of it is going to be critical. And to ZHL's credit, they understand that, have really been putting an emphasis on bringing their LOs into our space, coming to our HQ so that we can sit down and have an understanding, a conversation, get on the same page, knowing that the key is going to be bridging those relationships. There is something, I notice I'm coming to you in a second. Does everyone, two things. V got a lead that was already approved. That is the benefit, one of the many benefits of working closely as a Zillow partner with ZHL and hitting our metrics. We will get leads referred to us that are already approved. I'm a testament. I got one myself. Okay, just already approved. So not only is there a benefit to the client, appraisal fee waiver, staying in the ecosystem, 1.9 times more likely to close faster. These are the benefits that we should be listing to our lead as to why ZHL when we're presenting this conversation. That's to the lead. But here's inside game for you. As we continue to work with ZHL, and as we continue to produce at the level that we are, you will receive approved buyers in your inbox that naturally have a higher probability of converting because they've already done the financing. We just got to find them the home. Multiple benefits to us, multiple benefits to the buyer. Want to make sure that we're conveying the value to the buyer when we're having that conversation. We'll get back to that. Dog, what you got, bro? Rapid fire. Dog going once.
I'm all for the collaboration. Someone like myself, I've gotten about 4 or 5 people in. When we had the conversation, I forget the gentleman. What was the rep's name that did the talk?
James.
Yeah, James. Like when I asked him the question, he was blunt as fuck. And he's basically like, they're just too big and they don't care. I know they have their perspective of, you said 10%. Are we going to be accountable for that for our metrics on our team? So the people that get that 10% or maybe a little bit above, where they be receiving more lead flow, or your lead flow is going to stay the same if somehow you're not? Because I got a great lender right now that's doing no down payment, no MI. So it's kind of like, that's my speaking point for me to close the deal. Am I going to want to have to challenge that to get a ZHI lender? Or like I'm saying, I'm all for it, but it's just like, when I asked them about his programs and if they were gonna, look into doing anything to be more, aggressive with loans, we want to just stay with them no matter what. They're like, we're Zillow and we don't really care. And it was like, that was kind of the sentiment. So I was just wondering to see how do we get around it?
Vert, if you don't mind, I'll jump in on this one.
No, go ahead for sure.
Yeah, the metric is approvals, not closed deals, right? So if your client wants to get approved from ZHL and get a second opinion from someone who's got a loan program, they should absolutely do that. Or if you want to give them a third opinion, right? So like, it doesn't have to be that they have to go with Zillow. It's just, as we're presenting options, Zillow Home Loans should be one of those options that we're presenting, and give them the opportunity to either beat or not beat a lender from these other programs. Because James is also not a lender. So he doesn't know what ZHL is actually able to offer in the Bay Area. Right. They don't do like down payment grants like a lot of lenders do, but they have access to a lot of the loan programs that offer the types of down payment options that most buyers wind up using. So I would just say give them an option, give them a seat at the table. Absolutely no obligation. They got to use them. If you got a lender who they get approved for Zillow and they get approved for your lender, and your lender's got a better price for them, go with your lender. Absolutely, 100% of the time.
So the metric is for the overall team, right? Not just us as individuals, correct?
Both.
Yeah.
It's both. And then the second question that you had, the answer to that is this. Yes, it will impact your lead flow.
Okay.
Right? It will impact your lead flow as an individual agent. It will impact our lead flow as a team. So Zillow's connecting lead flow, market share, zip codes to ZHL pre-approvals. That's the reality of it.
I got you.
Okay. So just want to make sure everybody's clear on that. There is a level of importance around this ZHL piece and the pre-approval piece that we're in. We're in day 2. So Dan, what's our target for this month? Based on last month's numbers, would we dissect it?
Well, probably like 15 approvals.
Okay. That's our target, ladies and gentlemen. 15 pre-approvals. So if you want to divide that into individual mathematics, you take your appointment, you take your met with percentage, and then you take 10% of that. That's your individual contribution for the month. That's the best way, the easiest way to compute it. If my 30% met with, I need to have 3 pre-approved. 15 for the month as a team, right, Dan? Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Aaron, we're going to go rapid fire. We're going to close out after you. I'm going to pass the microphone to Coach Elias, whatever sentiment and he has for the squad, and then we're out of here.
So real quick, I was just going to say that I haven't had a problem. I just got a pre-approval yesterday. They're super quick through ZHL, and it's like when you're having the conversation with the people. Like some people are like, "Oh, I don't really have a lot of money." That's when you go to your grants. That's when you go to your DPAs. Zillow can't do that, but this guy was like, "Oh yeah, my family's giving me money for a gift. I'm probably going conventional. I got a good job as a UC Berkeley police officer." Then that's one where you're like, "Okay, well you should probably talk to Zillow Home Loans because they can get you a free appraisal, things like that," and they're enticed to do it. And then what helps even more for us, anyways, is I met with them on, it was I think Tuesday, and they filled out the application for ZHL and had the pre-approval on Wednesday, and then we have the buyer's consultation today to possibly write on the property we looked at on Tuesday. So like ZHL moves quickly. And if you want to build a relationship, I've heard a bunch of people talk about this one loan officer, Ben Carney. I work with Ben Carney on, this will be the second deal so far. And again, he answers calls on the weekends. He's Johnny on the spot. So yeah, it's you got to gauge it based on the clients in front of you. And Ben is not going to do any down payment assistance or grants, but not everybody's on that tip. So you can give divvied it out, and I think that we'll hit that 15.
Thank you for that sentiment. Here's a reality. ZHL wants this to work. So their loan officers are going to be available. They're going to be available on the weekends. They're going to answer the phone on Saturdays and even potentially Sundays because they want this to work. And they understand that the bridge that has to be connected is the relationship. And the only way to solidify a new relationship is to be available, ready, and willing in those off hours whenever it's needed. That's how relationships are solidified. So because they want this to work, they're positioning their LOs to be available essentially around the clock. Dan and I get emails from Allie all the time about here's the LOs who are going to be available this weekend at this time, and so on and so. They've literally built a 24-hour, 7 days a week around the clock schedule to ensure that they are receptive and available when we send a transfer because they want it to work. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen? So do we. So you know what that means? We're going to make it work. Before we close out, I want to pass the microphone to Coach Elias. What sentiment, feedback, thoughts, contributions do you have for the team today, my brother, before we exit stage left? Let's go.
You guys, congratulations once again hitting our target for the month. I want to share this with you because it's important. I believe that when we do our buyer consultation, book a meeting from a meeting, buyer consultation, in the first 3 pages of the buyer's consultation, it's about our company stats, real trends, and who we are. So I think a very, very clear definition of this is who are we, what are our skills, but most importantly, how do those skills translate into helping people buy real estate in the Bay Area, Central Valley, and beyond. The reason why I'm sharing with you is because it's important to talk about the company, but you have to translate how that impacts them, right? How that relationships and the community that we've built impacts them to get, information, and us being able to get, solid information about, the offer that seller needs to get. Well, I wanted to share this with you. What happened 2 days ago in our company EXP is the number one team in the entire company left EXP to go open up an independent brokerage, which is a big deal because that leaves us right now being at the number one spot in the world for all of sales volume. We just broke $500 million worth of sales volume. So, you guys had a little in this department and where we at as a company. And Zillow Flex represents 17.5% of all of our company dollar. So our team has helped over 641 people as of today, and that's over $500 million worth of real estate volume in the Bay Area, Central Valley, and Sacramento. So those things are obviously important to your consumers when they're talking about asset management and what this looks like. And so leverage that information to help you build closer relationships with people, to understand the true value of working with the championship team, not only here, not locally, but as well as nationally. So who are we? What are our skills? And how do those skills translate into helping people buy real estate in our market? That's what I got.
Good stuff, Coach. Thank you for that. Well, how the hell does it feel to be on the number one team? Not only the number one Zillow team, but the number one team in the whole damn brokerage. Let's just flex on them one time for that. You know what I mean? That's big stuff. Two housekeeping pieces. The scheduling for Conversion Clinic for Flex has changed. We mentioned it last Thursday. Now it is in full effect. It is no longer every Thursday at 11 a.m. Flex is the first and the third Thursday of each month. It's on the master calendar. Elias has updated it. I want to make sure that you don't tap into this space on the second and fourth Thursday because you will not be let in. First and third Thursday, Flex. Second and fourth Thursday, Seller Connection. If you're not a listing agent on the seller piece, you're not required to be here on the second and fourth Thursdays. Second piece of housekeeping. Molly and our back-end team, or Molly and our marketing team, they're creating a one-pager around ZHL to incorporate into your buyer consultation so that you can have that flow, that rhythm, and that cadence of how you're presenting that in your buyer consultation. We're going to talk more about that, not next Thursday because we won't be here with you, but the following Thursday. In the meantime, and in between, Dan, do you have anything, my brother? In the meantime, and in between time, our target is 14 for the month from Zillow. The target with you all from Dan and I is 20. We're at 7. I don't give a shit about seasonality. I don't care what other people are going. That doesn't impact us. Why? Because we're champions and we will produce. So go crush your weekend. If you're on shift this weekend, white and or black team, answer the phone, set the appointment, meet the client, run your conversion play, and let's continue to crush it like we always have. Grace, peace, and blessings to you. See you guys next time.